Today, I'm going to talk to you about a topic that affects, I guess, every parent ever. So it's pretty applicable, it's pretty relevant. Today's topic for this talk is parenting from fear and doubt. Today, I'm going to be talking with you about how fear and doubt get in the way of being the mom you want to be. This is such a common problem and comes up with so many of the mothers who I help in their journey to eliminating the overwhelm cycle, which is often also the elimination of a trauma response loop and cycle. Fear gets in the way of being able to enjoy and have fun and feel lightness about life in general, about being able to enjoy parenting, being able to enjoy being with your kids. So in just a second, we're going to dive in. Let's see if we've got some people on with us. So say hi when you come on and tell me, just give me a little wave and click the like button so that I know who's here with me. And we're going to dive in. Okay. So parenting from fear and doubt. First, we're going to cover what that looks like and what it includes. And then we're going to talk about really what it takes to change it. Okay, so, and that's why we're all here, right? Nobody enjoys feeling angry and frustrated in parenting half the time or every day, and having a lack of safety and connection with your kids. Nobody enjoys that. It feels like you're failing as a mom. So fear is often at the root cause of that. That fear is the thing that's in the way. And so here's how it can show up. One way that people are very aligned with fear in parenting, one thing that it does is it makes you scared about your children's safety. So in a very literal sense, fear-based parenting can mean having catastrophic thoughts, thinking of all the things that could go wrong, thinking about physical safety and danger that your children could get into, or fear of losing your children. And those are really common human experiences once you become a parent, because obviously it's a whole heck of a lot of responsibility, and we love them so much. And the worst thing in the world would be to not have them in our lives. So that fear of loss is one very literal way that fear gets in the way of finding joy in parenting. Another one that I see, this one is a really big one, pushing your kids at all. I was going to say too hard, but like pushing them at all is not good. Being demanding of them or pushing them to perform a particular way, to be a particular way. And underneath that is a fear that they'll fail. And that will affect badly on you or your parenting style. A fear that our kids are going to fail, which creates a lot of pressure for kids, anxiety for kids. Also disrupts that loving connection between parents and their kids. Okay, tell me if you have questions about any of these. Another one is a fear that as mom, you're not doing it right. So as mom, you worry about how you're screwing it up. You feel like you're failing. You feel like you can see evidence everywhere you look that your kids are not well behaved. They're fighting with each other. And underneath this is a fear of your own fear of failure or unworthiness, a lack of worthiness, right? And so that shows up then as tension, power struggles with kids, snapping, yelling at kids, so irritability, these kind of things. Another one is a fear of not being able to control your children's behavior. So newsflash, you can't control their behavior. If you didn't know that, now you know it. I told you, you can't control your kids' behavior. You can try using fear tactics. You can try using authoritarian parenting. You can try using threats and coercion, bribery, that kind of thing. But really, the only person you can control is yourself. So if you want to change what's going on with them, you have to change yourself. Don't try to change them. It's a total waste of energy and time, really. You can train them and coach them and develop them, but if you're doing it from a place of fear-based parenting, wow, that will create so much frustration and failure. All right. So there's another fear of big feelings, and this one is one of the most common ones, especially if you have a special kiddo, an out-of-the-box kid, a kid with high needs, challenges. Then this one I see quite often, where if you have a fear of messiness, a fear of disorganization, that can apply to your house, but it can also apply to feelings and emotions. And kids have messy feelings. Guess what? So do we. But we've gotten very skilled at like putting them in a box, putting them in a drawer, closing the drawer, shoving them down, ignoring them, avoiding them, numbing out to them, running the other way, being indifferent to our emotions, all those things. But when you have kids, they don't let you just tune them out, at least not for a while. And that does start to happen. If this is too conditioned for too long, then you will just have kind of, you'll see apathy. So, or depression, another word for apathy. So at the end of the day, what I hear moms say who are stuck in this pattern of fear-based parenting is, I'm not being who I want to be. I'm not the mom I want to be. And that really starts to erode your self-confidence. It really erodes your ability to make progress, to let someone help you, to invest in yourself, to make the change, to believe that a solution is possible, to take steps you haven't taken before, to take actions you haven't taken before. It really, really gets in the way of that. It messes with your mind because you feel like, I have so much evidence that I'm failing, that I don't believe in myself, and that if I try to change it, I won't be able to, right? Kind of the deck is stacked against you. That's the feeling. Okay. Sound familiar for anybody? So drop in the comments. I would really love for this to be interactive. If any of these things are ringing bells with you, just say yep in the chat so that I can see it. So that's what fear-based parenting, or the self-doubt that comes up when we parent from fear, is like. We try to control our kids or their behavior. We try to shut it down when it gets too out of control or uncomfortable. That's fear-based. And of course you're going to fail at that, because kids did not come here to entertain our ideas of perfection. That is not the purpose of our children. That's not what your child came to do. And so they're going to push every button in that. So you darn well better learn some new skills so that you can actually learn to be flexible and control how you feel while they're figuring all that out, right? So the outcome of fear-based parenting is, for most often in the women who I speak with on clarity calls, is anger, number one. Irritability, blowing up, yelling, snapping, feeling then a lot of guilt about that. Feels terrible to yell at your kids and then to have to see how it affects them afterwards. And then hopelessness, in that order, right? Irritability and anger, and then hopelessness. Guilt comes somewhere in the middle. Hopelessness, and if this is something that you have experienced, I'm going to just put an asterisk on this right now and say that is a time to raise your hand and ask for help from an expert in solving the problem you have. That is time. That is time to get help. Hopelessness, depression, despair, thinking they'd be better off without you. That's time to open up, to receive help, to invest in you and figure this stuff out, because that's the piece that will do a lot of damage, not just to your health, your mental health, but to your relationships in the future with your kids. They're feeling it now. if that's where you're at, put your hand up in whatever way you can and ask for help and expertise to learn how to resolve what's in the way, really what's in the way for you. Unworthiness, past trauma, deep self-doubt, deep lack of confidence, belief in yourself. These are skill sets that can be taught. We teach them in Awakened Motherhood in a really smart way so that people make leaps and bounds in just a few months. It's completely fixable. These are fixable problems, okay? So impact of that, and I've said some of this already, but impact of allowing that hopelessness to continue, that anxiety or overwhelm to continue, is the lack of closeness and connection with your kids. That's it. Heather, is being a pushover part of it? Being a pushover is really about lack of certainty and confidence in yourself as a mom. Fixable problem too. It also, another piece of the impact is exhaustion that you feel in your body, and that creates a whole host of other issues. When you're exhausted, you feel like it's never enough. You're never able to get through your list of things to do. Things are left undone. Then you feel crappy about yourself because of that. And then that vicious cycle and negative feedback loop builds, right? So you feel less confidence. You feel more guilty. You feel more often like you're failing. Okay. So fear can be resolved, rewritten, dissolved. It can be repurposed for good. There's always something good about the fear. We always learn. When I do this work with my clients, we always learn a lot from the fear. We're not trying to extinguish it without learning from it. There's a process for learning from that fear, and what it is showing you is the place, like that usually shines the light for me on where we need to go to help somebody. So what's the hopelessness about? What's the fear about, the doubt about, the uncertainty about? And this work is so fun because once you feel the relief of healing those unresolved trauma wounds, those motherhood wounds, the places, the cracks in the foundation, so to speak, in your belief in yourself or in your knowing how to be a mom who has strong boundaries or who has certainty. When we kind of fill those cracks and build the missing pieces. So there's a piece of this that's about like resolving the trauma. And and when I say trauma, you may say, I don't have any trauma, and that's cool. And what I mean is that fight or flight pattern, looking at what causes it, what it's affecting, and what's happening in that pattern for you, and shifting all of that. And part of the answer to resolving fear in parenting is creating something from that fear that actually supports you, that supports presence, you being so present, that allows you to be the mom you want to be, because she's in there. And if you have the desire, if you're feeling bad about how this is affecting your kids, then there's a clear desire in there. That's what the clarity calls for. We'll identify what exactly is that desire, and then what exactly is in the way. And then we can talk about if I can help you and how. The process of rewriting, of resolving the wounding or the trauma, the fight or flight pattern, that unworthiness, also needs to include, and this is why like EMD, people come to me after trying a lot of EMDR or a lot of trauma therapy. They haven't yet rewritten who they are as a mom and developed that. And we do that in our 12-week program. We do that. You need both. You need to resolve the trauma, and you need to heal your brain and nervous system. And you need to learn the skill set on how to move through emotions with ease so that you can be in confidence and be in certainty, and hard things can happen and you can still stay connected to you and be like, yeah, I know what to do. Like, I'm good. I'm not getting thrown by this anymore. And with that presence, kids start to change a lot. They change really quickly. Arguing stops. They become more attuned to you, wanting to listen to you, wanting to do the things you ask them to do. That part feels like magic, but it's just it's a very typical response for when we resolve fear in parenting. And then you have to do that second piece of work, which is rewriting who you are as a mom. And we have to build that identity brick by brick. And it's a process of building new belief systems and expectations and ways you see yourself and ways you think about yourself. But that you don't want to put that cart before the horse. The horse is resolving the underlying trauma and the fear. Okay, is that making sense? So the way that this works in like what you have to do in order to resolve fear in parenting, it takes a very clear, structured path. It takes accountability. It takes immersion in that learning. You really do need to teach your brain to learn a new language. And if you're just trying to accomplish that in 5 minutes a day or 30 minutes of talking about my week in therapy, it isn't the formula. It's not the winning formula. It's not the formula that's going to get you where you want to go. What you need is that repetitive learning. You need immersion in the process, and you need a really structured, clear path. And when I switched from being a psychotherapist in office, seeing one-to-one clients once a week, when I switched from that into what I do now, and what I do now is so much more, there's so much more giving and service and connection that happens in that. I did it to get our clients better results. I did it because the other way of talking about what's not working just simply is not enough. It doesn't create enough momentum. And it also was impossible in that setting to hand people the how-to. There's no format for that in one-to-one office work. There was no opportunity to give someone a how-to curriculum and really help them implement that and create the change in their lives along the way. And so that is how we do it now. And that's one example from the clinical evidence that I have that's over the last 7 years of working clients in this way. The brain just needs that. A lot of people who I speak to really, really are beating themselves up so hard for not being able to figure out on their own how to find joy in motherhood, how to stop yelling at their kids, how to be present and stop overthinking and stop spinning out and spiraling out. And honestly, like, just let that go. The ship has sailed. We cannot talk ourselves out of a past trauma into joy. Oh, just too complex. There's your energy, there's your thought patterns, there's your focus, there's your nervous system, there's how you process emotions, and there's how you view yourself, your identity. And all of those pieces matter, and all of them are important to love on and upgrade and pay attention to and receive that learning in how to upgrade each area. So hopefully that's helpful for you to understand a little bit more about all the pieces that are firing in your brain and in your system that create your mood. All of these pieces create your mood. And when fear is active in you, which we all have fear because we're human, but when fear is active in you and it's kind of unbounded, it's boundaryless, it's like filling up and showing up everywhere and filling up the room in parenting and filling up your thoughts at 3 a.m. about all the worries and second guessing and all the things that are not working or that you're worried or you feel out of control about. That's fear. And that is resolvable and that is fixable. So one thing I want to say to those of you who are joining this call today and who are listening back is that I know well and understand the desire to be able to do something on your own. I get it. And I've been there, and I do it about things sometimes too, because we're human. And when you're an independent woman, then that just feels really good. And it just really kind of feels satisfying to be able to figure something out on your own. And the truth is, for like in Awakened Motherhood, in with my clients who I guide through this healing process, a lot of it requires courage, and it requires strength, and it requires determination to solve a problem. But if what you're doing is not working, not giving you the result that you want, in the joy you feel in your home, the peace, the happiness you feel in your home, you feel stressed, you feel like you're failing, your marriage is gonna go south, or it already is going south, and you don't want that, and you want the relationship with your kids that you've been missing out on, the missing piece is having the how. That's all it is. It's having the how. And I can't promise you that you would be a fit for the work that we do, but if I can get you the results, I will be very upfront with you about that and explain how we do it. Okay? So this is not for you if you are not stable in your living situation. It's not time to do deep emotional work. If you are in transition, you're moving today, you are numbing out on illegal substances, lack of stability is showing up in your life, it's true that that can be resolved by doing inner work, but this is not for you. Do not book a call if you are in a place of real instability. Why? Because emotional work is very effective when you have ground underneath you, when your basic needs are met. And I hear from people who say, like, I want this to change and I'm ready to do the inner work, but I can't decide for me. And I just want to say something quickly there, which is that I have never helped anyone who did not see that she was the authority over her own well-being. That if you farm that out to your partner or spouse or fiance or whomever, if you say that other person is responsible for my well-being, then you are really giving up on your happiness. You're allowing someone else to decide for you how happy you get to be. And this is not for you if that's who you are either. I work with women who are really wanting a solution. And the best way to assess if we can get there together is just to reach out. So reach out. Best if you book a call, and I'll put the call link around here, www.honorjanetsky.com/call, and we'll see if you are a good fit and good match for Awakened Motherhood, and if the team can help you, I'll let you know. And if not, I'm going to love on you either way and give you some recommendations. If it's not a fit, then I'll absolutely connect you with something else that I feel like would be a better help for you right now. Okay, so any questions, you guys drop them in the comments, and let me just check and see if I see any. Drop them in the comments. I'd be happy to answer those. And I'll circle back if you guys want to leave those who are watching the replay. And let me know what clicked for you today, what connected. I love to hear that, and I love to hear what's helpful. It helps me to create more content for you guys. That's really going to help you move forward. Okay? Until next time, I will see you guys soon. Take care.